All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, the praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered abroad. All right, this is Brother Barbazal here with a lesson. Our Lord willing us edifying, right? So, the title of this lesson is going to be something along the lines of, the source of our power comes from the Lord, right? And, saying that, we don't take things into our own hands, rely on our own power, carnally, okay? We understand that all our power comes from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right? And, I just want to open up with some precept with Revelation 6:2. It says, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, all right, is going into the chariot, all right? So white going into, purity, and horse going into that power, all right? And he that sat upon him had a bow, this going into Yahushua, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer, yeah. So, us, establishing that kingdom, having that rulership, over Esau, all right, it all starts with Yahushua, right? Because Yahushua, of course, is going to come back in that chariot, all right, with the angels, all right, and beam up the elect, all right? And that's how, of course, the elect is going to get those perfect bodies, right? That spiritual power, all right? It's all going to come through that salvation, but it's all going to come through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right? And we have to wait upon the Lord for that to happen, okay? We're not out here, trying to be tough guys, trying to hold up sticks at camp, right? Just do things that's, unwise, right? We move by faith, and, through that faith, we believe that the Lord will give us that power, all right? But of course, we have to wait on his return, keep doing what we have to do, right? Through our works, through our faith, right? Teaching, all right? Rehearsing the righteous acts, all right? And until the Lord come, right? Enduring until the end, because right now, we in our slavery, all right? This captivity, all right? And, we have to serve this captivity until, the prophecies pop off, right? Which the main prophecy, of course, we're waiting on is, the MOTB to be mandated, all right? So this is Revelation 11:12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Yeah, this is going up to, or going into, the chariot, beaming up the elect. All right, as when it says they ascended up to heaven into a cloud, that's going into the chariots, and their enemies beheld them. So, while this is happening, of course, our enemies, right, it's going to be seen. The whole world is going to see, the salvation of the elect. All right, being beamed up, all right, and coming into those perfect bodies, all right. That's why the chariots, of course, are so important, right? Because, they represent our salvation, right? Like when you get this Habakkuk 3:8, it says, was the Lord displeased against the rivers? Was thine anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea? That thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation. You see? So this is just going into the power of the chariots and just proving that, the chariots is going to be what save us. Those are going to be the vehicles, the Lord used, in order to save the elect. Okay? So with all this being said, all right, we gotta, this is the reason why, of course, we have to have trust in the Lord. All right, we seen what happened when Jake, has came up and tried to, do things, themselves, rebel in their own means. Got different slave rebellions, Black Wall Street. All right, different times, Jacobs came up and, done, certain riots against Esau. All right. But, each time, not much just came of it, but now we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shai, what's going to get us out of it, which is the Lord. Okay. We see why we in this condition that we in, through the scriptures. We see how to get out of this position that we in through the scriptures. Okay. We see that, we're the true Israelites going into, of course, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you also got your speckled birds, throughout the four corners of the earth as well. All right. So we know, what we got to do and who to lean upon, what to lean upon. All right. Where our power, the source of our power lies, which is through the Lord, doing the will of Yahweh by Shai. All right. That's the source of our power, calling on the name of the Lord. Brothers have testimonies, just calling upon the name of the Lord, being delivered out of certain situations. All right. Those that come against or offend the prophets, them being judged, for, coming against, the men of the Lord, So that just goes to show you that, how powerful the Lord is, And the scriptures even go into vengeance, you know what? Let me get that, actually. Read that's in the book of Sirach. There we go. Hebrews, Salakia. Hebrews 10:30. For we know him that hath said, vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. So vengeance belongeth unto the Lord. All right. And through the Lord, we going to get that vengeance, upon the heathen, upon Esau. All right. And ultimately be brought up back to a righteous standard. So let's get the book of Psalms 44:4. It says, thou art my king, O Yahweh, command deliverances for Jacob. Through thee will we push down our enemies, through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. And even, King David, of course, he knew that the source of his power was from Yahweh by Shai, was because of the faith he had. All right. Him bringing down, Goliath. All right. That was a testament of his faith. Okay. Psalms 44:5. Through thee will we push down our enemies, through thy name will we tread under them that rise up against us. You see? And a lot of guys, of course, they like to talk about Samson, right? But how does Samson get his power? No, it wasn't from just simply growing out his hair. No, it was the Nazarite vow, which a vow, of course, that he made with the Lord, a covenant, of course, that he made with the Lord. All right. That's what gave him his power. All right, because you got a lot of people saying, don't cut your hair, it's the source of your power, which that's not what it's about. It's about, the Nazarite vow. All right, which is, having your hair long, not drinking, wine or alcohol. Right. It's certain things that go into that Nazarite vow. Right. It's not just simply growing out your hair, man. And Samson didn't have dreads neither. All right. But let's keep reading. Psalms 44:6. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies and hast put them to shame that hated us. You see? Oh, in verse 8 it says, in Yahweh we boast all day long and praise thy name forever. Salah. So there you go. All right. But thou hast saved us from our enemies. So the Lord goes to save us from our enemies and has put them to shame that hated us. All right. And real soon, man. All right. This man Esau is going to be put to shame and put into slavery. All right. And hey, the Israelites will be brought up from that lower state. All right. It's got one more scripture, I believe. Isaiah 40 and 20. We can start at 28. Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting power, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There was no searching of his understanding. It reads, he give power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. You see? So it's the Lord that does these things. It's the Lord that, gives you that power. It's the Lord that, just anything. It's the Lord that gets you rich, or it's the Lord that, brings you to that lower state or brings you up out of that estate. It's because of the Lord that Esau is sitting in the seat that he's in, Verse 30, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. See, those that wait upon the Lord. And this is going into that spiritual power, man, which we wholeheartedly believe that, brothers will get that power, man, But, that's pretty much the point. Lord, when it was edifying.